component contractors say that, you know, usually back when we bid, we turn in our bids to GCs. You know, so can we still turn in bids to GC? Where is that? Eliminating that part of the process.
GC has no contract
Ability to hire a sub.
yes, he does.
Okay.
The difference in a subcontractor and a component, there's difference. The sub works for the GC, and he has just a relationship, a legal contract, just as you do across the building industry, with GCs and subs. Over here, we got components. They have a direct contract with the Valdosta Housing Authority to perform that portion of the work. Now, and of course, they've got a responsibility in that. They got to work within the time frame, but their component contractors' pay request will come to us, just like your pay request would come to us, and include any subs that you have. The component over here for painting, let's say, his pay request comes to us. We go check it. If he's 30% complete and he claims 30%, then he gets paid. But if he claims 30% and he's only 10%, he don't get paid, except for what he's done. So don't send us something that's not done. It's just that plain. If you're half done and we go down there and find out you're only 10%, that's all you're eligible for. So just keep that in mind. And
can I only bid one component, or can I bid more than one component?
well, I don't know of any restriction that would keep somebody from bidding more than one component. I do know of a restriction that keeps a GC from bidding a component.
Right.
And a component from bidding a GC.
Right.
Because we fully intend to have 6 different contracts with 6 different companies. That's our intention. I mean, I want everybody to know that. We're not, no stack it up. You know, I mean, it says right there what we want to do. So work within the system that we got. Let's make a success out of it. And, you know, we're breaking some new ground here. But, okay. This guy right here has his.
So if I'm doing painting and I want to bid on roofing, I can't. Is that what you're saying?
You can or can't?
I can. I was asking, can I?
I don't know of any restriction in here that says you cannot bid on more than one component.
Right. That's
Like,
a good question.
like I said, just
Right.
we're trying to. I said 6 different contracts, but that is going to be a separate contract. If you bid on painting and you bid on something else, there'll be 2 contracts.
Right.
There. And in that case, it'd be with the same company if it were to be selected. And so, okay. Any other questions?
So you're saying as a GC, for instance, component contracts, the GC isn't bidding on the whole project, period. He's only going to bid on certain pieces, and then you're going to have.
You missed me.
Well, you're saying there's 6 contracts.
There'll be 6 contracts. These documents show what those components
And
are.
the GC has its own components.
No, don't mix GC and component together. Just don't do that again. This doesn't have anything to do with it. Okay? What these documents do is they identify what the component is responsible for. The GC's got to do everything else. And that will include some subcontractors that he hires directly. He has one contract that GC does with the owner, the Valdosta Housing Authority. Then he has contracts with his subs.
That's right.
Components are over here in another category. Okay? And now a component can have a sub. You know? I mean, we're not saying a component can't have a sub. But we're looking for small businesses to participate. And that's what we have tried to set up here. Any more questions? I'm sorry, go ahead.
So on the Davis-Bacon thing, the general contractor will not have to make the component contractors
No, sir.
keep their Davis-Bacon stuff up.
And if you're familiar with working on a federal project where you got Davis-Bacon, you have to submit a certified payroll. Now that includes all components. You gotta submit you gotta comply with that wage scale, and you have to certify on a report every month that you've done that, and show and prove that you've done it. Now, Valdosta Housing Authority is handling all that. It'll come in and it'll go directly to them. We'll communicate with them. If there's a problem, then we bring the sub in. They'll contact the sub and say, you didn't get my certified payroll in this month, so you can't get paid next month. You know, it's just, but yes, that is the answer to that. You're not responsible for him, for the components, doing their paperwork. It makes it 6 times harder for us to do, but we're determined to do this, and we think it's going to work out, and we hope that it is successful in the end result. But we're going to be easy to work with. We've been around a long time, and we understand everything isn't perfect, but we also understand we got a responsibility and an obligation on a contract to perform, and we're gonna make sure that happens. And I'm sure all of you have enough experience that's in this room that you know what a construction process is all about. You know it's important that somebody's supposed to be doing something on this day so somebody else can get in here the following day. And y'all know how important that is, because it can slow the whole job down. So, and it'll take, once we get it, it'll take us sitting down with the GC and the components, and we're going to talk about the schedule. We're going to talk about what all of y'all are going to try to do. You can't tear off every roof down there at one time. So figure that in, that you got to go at this where you can maintain safety, and these units are going to continue to be occupied. So that means you got a period in there, and we've got a timeline in there about every night that electricity's got to be on. They got to be able to cook and bathe and see. So whenever you got a power to deal with, it's got to be scheduled, and it's got to be done that day, and they got to put them back in business, even if it's temporary. You got to put them back in operation. You can't leave them without power and lights because they can't occupy. Then they call the housing authority and they say, well, we're going to have to come down there and get you a hotel, and the housing authority will get all upset. So, but that's just the way we got to work.
When will the time frame be determined? You know, will it be after you get the contracts on your general and then your components, and then at the time you sign the contracts, the contractor and the components will get together to formulate a time?
Well, the GC is responsible for scheduling all the components. Prior to
The bid?
no.
Okay.
You got to have somebody putting together the overall
Right.
schedule, and that's what the GC is required to do. When they submit, a component submits his price, he'll say 30 days, that's going to take me to do all this painting down here, whatever. Those 30 days are going to be taken by a GC, and they're going to be divided up. Well, we're going to do this building this 2 weeks. We're going to do this building this 2 weeks. And if we need more days, we'll coordinate that with the component. I mean, if you have to use, if it takes 45 days to make it work, then we're going to ask you to make it work. But we need to start somewhere. And given your number of days, if it takes you 60 days, put it in there, and then we'll work with it. It's going to involve us helping work with the GC and components to make this work. But when you sign a contract, you're going to know your time. And you're going to be committed to that. And you're going to be tied to it.
And
So,
you've got a basic number of days to do the project already?
well, no,
No, not formulated.
no, not until we get all the proposals together. And it'll be listed on there what everybody's proposing. we don't wanna get out here and,
Say you gotta do it in 180 days, that's gonna take.
we can't do that, because this project probably is gonna take longer to do than a normal project. But, that's okay. We're gonna see, we're gonna test it. And of course, y'all are sitting in here today, and we're making a commitment to you that everybody's gonna be treated fairly. We're looking for a successful project out of this. And that's why you got contracts directly with them. You know, things are gonna have to be, you gotta cooperate to work in this environment. And that's what we gotta have, is cooperation. So I don't think that's too much to ask, really. Okay, it's time to get going, unless y'all got some more questions.
Be clear.
Be clear.
No, I'm
What
saying.
do you mean, be clear? What do you
I meant to say to be clear. In other words, the components, general contractors are not bidding the components.
They are not supposed to bid the components. Now, if somebody makes a mistake,
Yeah.
and it's in there on their bid form, when I see it, you know, we probably gonna take some action, you know?
Gotcha.
But what I'm saying is, y'all, in order to bid it, you gotta be here today.
Gotcha.
And it's very clear in the invitation, and right there in advertising, we don't want general contractors bidding on components. We also don't have any prohibition against a component company bidding on more than one component.
Gotcha.
That clear?
Fair enough.
One more question.
I'm just cutting up
How
at
you
you.
doing?
Yeah, one of the two forms we need to turn in with the bids.
You got, it's not the two forms, you gotta read it.
Yes, sir.
You gotta read it, and there's more than two forms.
Yeah.
So, it's clear. It's clear. You know, there's nothing wrong with getting one set of plans and sharing them. If a component wanted to share them, it's okay, you know? And I will allow you to make a copy. If you get one set, then we're saying we'll give you permission if you need to go around there and get a copy of a sheet, but we cannot issue you a partial set. Here's the reason. If somebody says, well, you gave me sheet A1, and all of a sudden, there's more work on A2. Well, I didn't give him that because I just issued a partial set of plans. But we cannot do that. You got to be responsible for all the work in this set of plans. And now, but what I'm saying is we'll give you permission to copy a sheet. It's on your own. You go to the printers, you copy that sheet, but you got to understand you got a partial set of plans there, and it's very, very risky. I don't advise it.
Very risky.
But so we're not trying to hold up people, you know, to make them pay $50 for every set. So that's as far as we can get. We will not issue a partial set of plans to anybody. We will give you permission if you want to copy these, to copy parts of them. You see what I mean?
Do they have those sets running back
Yep,
there at that?
they're there.
Yeah, I just picked them up.
If we paid for the sets, can we get PDFs as well?
You're not gonna get the PDF.
I have.
We don't do it. We're just not gonna do it. We had I think you might have inquired.
I
We had
sent you
one
an email
inquiry.
earlier today.
Oh, you inquired?
Yeah.
Okay, well, we answered.
Okay.